Freaks and Geeks, to another episode of the Square Roundtable podcast. I'm your host, Dmitri, and this is my co-host,
Marcus alone. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey.
What it do, Freaks and Geeks, man? We back.
Let's go.
We back.
In here. And today we're going to be, if the banner doesn't tell you already, we're going to be deciding who is the best live action Spider-Man. And we're only going to be really talking about like live action, not like any of the animated stuff. So Miles is not really going to be considered in this one. But if we wanted to do across all media, then that would be a different conversation. But we're only talking about the live action depiction. If Miles gets a live action movie, we'll revisit
if it's done right.
If it's not done right, you're gonna hear from us. But
we still gonna talk about it. But if it's not done right, he won't be in this conversation.
He won't. Right.
The only reason one of them is in this conversation is because we need to make a valid argument.
Oh man, we got already talking mess. All right,
I do want to say this before we get started.
Yeah,
because I know we're not probably gonna talk about them as much, but we do have to just recognize the two live action versions that were before the very first movie. And that was the Sentai one in Japan, and then the 1970s version, the first version they did in America. So shout out to those two live action. Yeah,
but they're not in the conversation.
Only because one was a show. It was like a movie then show, and then Sentai. It was basically like Power Rangers with Spider-Man. So it's like its own thing.
It's its own thing. It ties in to our Power Ranger podcast. But yeah, check that out, by the way. The Power Ranger podcast. That was a great podcast. Check
look at that plug.
Got it plug a little bit. Marcus, I think we should first and foremost do a rundown of all the Spider folks so everybody knows what we're talking about. The Spider folk we talking about is Tobey Maguire, the man, the myth, the legend, the OG, the original guy, the one that set it all off back when Sony was making movies with Spider-Man in them. Gotta just jab that knife in there real quick. Set the stage for, I think, what we understand for Spider-Man to be. As an adult, he had very relatable things to what 30-year-old people have going on in their life. So he was definitely relatable to older audience for sure. And younger people, you still kind of gravitated toward him. I think his Spider-Man, his Peter Parker was more relatable than I would say not relatable. He embodied more of the Peter Parker than he did the Spider-Man. Spider-Man was great. But it's Peter Parker and his struggles of balancing his identity in school and a girlfriend and work and rent. It really showed how much the weight of that responsibility has played a part.
It showed us that what we are living now, that being an adult sucks, even if you're a superhero.
That part.
Because we literally, I don't care what nobody our age will say who's the best or who's better. We all will always go back and say we understand what Tobey's Peter went through. Now that we are of age, because you got to remember that Peter was the first film, senior in high school, graduated. Yeah. Then the next two films, he was out there doing his adult thing, college, working. That Spider-Man is very relatable now. I think we all go and watch that one when we need like a escapism from life. So we can just put our problems on his shoulders.
Yeah, because what was it? It was for me what it really was him having to go into JJ. Like the Triple J, I'm called, and turning those photos of him in the Spider-Man suit and have him talk so much mess about him right to his face, and him have to eat them words. I'm like, man, that's real life, man. Like when you have a job that's just it makes a living, you know what I'm saying? But you don't really like being there. It's like your first job. It's like that job.
It pays the bills.
Exactly,
barely.
It pays the bills, but barely, right? You got to argue with him about how much money you want to be making for the Spider-Man photos. He was like, I used to get paid $300 a photo. Now it's $150. I'm like, it ain't nothing. It's $300 or I'm out. And Peter was like, I got things to pay. I got to suck it up to this dude. I'm like, Peter, you're better than me.
I'll go somewhere else. I'll go to the New York Post.
Right? So So
But yeah, man.
I think Peter Parker wise, he embodied it very well. I'll say he embodied it great, but I think I I'm not gonna say I'm gonna save my points about the other Spider folks for that point, but I definitely started gravitating towards another Spider-Man when it came to my watch throughs now, because I went back and rewatched them as Marcus knows, but the viewers don't. I went back and I did a whole binge of Spider-Man content before this podcast came out. So I got to hit the highs and lows of everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I told him I didn't seen it like 100 times myself.
Yeah, once I've seen a movie, like I have to have time in between before I like go back and rewatch them, because I know the story beats like a little too well and it puts you off a little bit. Like that's just me. But I like the movies, but it's just I give them time to breathe before I go back in and watch them again and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Spider-Man wise, he did a really good job. But I think, honestly, in my opinion, I think Garfield played a better Spider-Man than him. Just because, especially in Spider-Man 2, that his swinging and stuff like that reminded me of that PS2 game, the Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man game where you had to fight against Carnage at the end. It gave me those vibes, so I was like, oh man, there's that nostalgia there. I'm a little bit more at my rewatch. I'm more Andrew Garfield versus Tobey, but Tobey gets respect for sure. I'm not gonna slouch him. Because when they came back, I was happy to see both of them. Both of their resumes for this conversation are great. Like, Spider-Man 2 was surprisingly good. Amazing Spider-Man 2 was the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man with Electro in it was surprisingly good. The second one, like when I watched it before, like I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't as like high in my radar. Yeah. But when I went for the rewatch, I was like, oh no, this is actually really good. Like it's just underrated. People just weren't ready for it, honestly. But I'm gonna let Marcus talk because I feel like he got some things to say about my opinions.
Oh man, it's honestly we are not that far apart in our opinions. I will say this though. I always say with Tobey, I think what gets Tobey all the time is he goes through the same thing that Michael Keaton went through when he played Batman. So
yeah,
just like Tobey, Michael Keaton wasn't the first person to play Batman, like live action. But he was like the first mainstream to get a like big budget film that was released worldwide in theaters. So he was like the first time we really saw like the actual, like he was so good as Batman that they changed the comics after him. Like seriously, they made it a darker tone. That's how good he was. So with him, his portrayal of Batman is the same as Tobey's as Spider-Man. Is where they're better at playing the alias than they are the actual hero. Like, Michael Keaton was good at being Bruce Wayne. Like he's a good Batman, but he played the shit out of Bruce Wayne. Like he set the bar for what Bruce Wayne is. Like as far as that's him wearing the mask. It's Bruce Wayne, and it's not Batman is not the mask. It's Bruce Wayne. Yeah. And with Tobey, it was the same. It was like, yeah, he wears the mask to save people, but he's really hiding behind. Now that he's got these powers, he's still hiding behind that same personality of where he's nerdy and weak, but he knows like he can break somebody's hand if he wants to. But he chooses to still be like that kind person because that's who he is, and that's the morals that was embedded in him by his uncle and aunt. So, like you said, Tobey, he played the hell out of Peter. And with his Spider-Man, I think with his Spider-Man, what we was missing because we read the comics, watched the shows, played the games, is that kind of those one-liners and those kind of jokes
those
they
quips.
say when those quips when he fights. And it was like there, but you could tell that Spider-Man had more like weight on his shoulders. So it's like he didn't have the time to really joke because if we really think about it, every fight was like a serious fight. Either somebody he loved was about to be thrown off a building, or he had to choose to save, what was it, like the dolly of the people and Mary J at the same time. And it's like his Aunt May got taken by Doc Ock. He had to fight Harry. Like, bro he can't even like flustered to think of a like one liner to say during those times. Like when he would do
No.
the little robberies and stuff, he would say something. He had a lot going on. As for like Andrew, we got those one liners. We got like the movements like Spider-Man when he would say stuff and the
Yeah.
different hand motions, even the like when he leaned on the wall next to him and he was like talking to him. And I was like, that's Spider-Man. Because at the end of the day, that's what people like always remember with Spider-Man. Does he ever shut up? Like all the superheroes always, bro. Do you ever shut up? Do you
You ever
always have to
stop
say
talking,
something?
right? Can you
so
not say something for 5 seconds?
so with Andrew, like he really embodied that part of Spider-Man, and even the way the fights, the way the movements, like you said, the movements were more like the comic book version. He was more like slender and
Yeah.
more like a gymnast build, because I think that's what they kind of always say Spider-Man's build is, a gymnast, because he does
Very like
flips,
athletic.
acrobat. And then Toby looked
He's
like he's finna go in a WWE match and wrestle like in the cruiserweight division, which isn't bad because he looked good. He had a little stock on him. It's
so,
just I really think as far as like those two go, it's a preference because
yeah.
neither one were bad, and
No.
it's just unfortunate that Toby was the first because Toby had two. He had three good films, and then he had a real good sequel. So unfortunately, Andrew didn't get to have that third. So he doesn't get. That's why it's so hard to choose because he didn't. We didn't get to see his three versus Toby's three. As
Yeah.
well, like with Tom, he has three, so it's now he has three, so he's ahead of. Nah, he ain't ahead.
No, don't do that.
He just came in a different era of film,
Yeah.
when
Mm-hmm.
studios are backing that stuff. But for me, I gotta agree with you. I think I enjoyed Andrew when I went back and watched it because the first one I remember going to the movies to see that and I thought it was like the coolest thing the way they did the suit, that they had the lizard in there because we had never seen the lizard because he was supposed to be in the Sam Raimi ones, but he didn't
Yeah.
get that fourth film.
I like that. One thing I noted about, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I have to get this
No, you
off before
good.
I forget. Because you're talking about the lizard, and I wanted to make this point. I loved because I remember watching. I love that the lizard still did his science stuff when he was throwing them things at him. Because like
Yes, bro.
that's a good nod to like him still being like in there.
Yeah, he's not like totally lost. He's like, hey man, I'm trying to do shit right here. Like you throwing my stuff off right now. But
Exactly. I love that, and also the science. I like Andrew Garfield because he was more on the science part of
yeah,
like
he
Peter.
was. We definitely
Like,
saw more. And I think it helped because he had to make the web shooters. And I think that's another
yeah,
thing that took away from Toby is they used weapons,
organic.
which was
Hmm.
cool to me because
Of
it was
course.
like almost in a way making him a mutant, which we all know in the comic books. Spider
Yeah.
Man did not like to be called a
Exactly. He wanted to be called anything but that. But I think didn't they like, if I remember correctly, after that movie came out with the organic web, didn't they change the Ultimate Universe to have organic for a while?
No, it wasn't the ultimate, but it was a comic that came out where they did have him
Hmm.
with the organic weapon because they wanted to kind
Yeah,
of mirror that. But yeah,
exactly.
they
Because
did it for
yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
exactly. That's what I thought. Because I remember it being something they did because they had a split between obviously two
Hmm.
different versions, the main and then the ultimate, which is just a different. It's like him
Yeah.
from high school, which I think,
Hmm.
like I said,
They
I
based
think
the Andrew. I think they based the Andrew more off of that one, the ultimate
yeah,
one.
you beat me to the point because I was about to say
Yeah.
that because I think 616 is definitely Toby, and then I would say Ultimate is
Yeah.
definitely Garfield, and then I don't know what Tom's universe is.
Tom is
Tom's
like
here, Tom's universe, it's so bogged down by the
it's
Iron
just
Man stuff. The Iron Man
dude,
stuff ruins
it
it for
killed me.
me so
It
much.
killed me, bro. And it's almost like to the fault where you can't blame him or you can't blame like the movie. It's like
No,
it's the studio like plugging that
yeah,
in to have Tony be the one to be his like Uncle Ben, I guess,
I
in
did
a
not
way,
like that because
and his
they waited.
mentor because Spider-Man never really he didn't
Yeah,
really have a mentor. He figured it out on his own, and that's what made him so good. Yeah, this dude's been a superhero since he was a teenager, and he just figured it out as he went. So it's like literally the first time we see him in the MCU, he get a whole new suit. He get to go fight all like the top superheroes that we done built up to this moment. He go hand in hand with Captain America.
right.
He web up Bucky and Falcon,
Yeah,
like it ain't
Falcon.
nothing. I'm like, dang, bro, he this nice.
Already that
And he
nice.
and then he's still in high school. It ain't like we getting
He's like
Toby
a
and
thing.
Andrew.
He's a
He's a
sophomore.
junior.
Oh, he's
I
a
think
no.
he's
I thought he was a sophomore in the first year because I think they made a point.
yeah, because he got blipped. You right. He
Yeah,
is a sophomore. And that's another
yeah.
thing, because I get it. They want to appeal to a younger audience. I understood it. But I was
Mm-hmm.
like, bro, we spending too much time with the high school days of Spider-Man. We don't need what was Saved by the Bell, Breakfast Club Spider-Man. Like, we don't need that.
We don't need Marty McFly Spider-Man. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
And I'm like, bro, and that's another thing, to your point about the Tony Stark. They really was trying to mirror the whole Back to the Future thing. Let's start. Doc. He might as well just said Doc. I think for me, that's what takes it down so far.
Agreed.
And then the threat level, the villains. He only really, to me, he only had one good villain, and that was Vulture.
I give Mysterio a little bit more credit after rewatch.
Oh yeah.
A little bit more.
When I went back and
more.
rewatched it, yeah, he was a lot better. But still, Vulture to me,
Vulture was great, and
of course,
I
by
think
the great Michael Keaton.
Of course, because he had to. But I think what really hurt Tom's movies for me is how late the with great power comes great responsibility came into play.
It came too late. It was about
It came so late that I felt if they would have had, let's say, Tony Stark, if they're going to use him as the Uncle Ben character, him say it in the first movie to establish it, and then he wouldn't even give him those glasses to Mysterio because he understands how powerful those things are and how he has to be careful with them. So he wouldn't have made the mistakes he made. So it hurts his Spider-Man that way. You know?
I really feel like Aunt May didn't have to. That was such a senseless death in that movie. But just before I get into that, just since we on Tom right now, I think the good things about Tom is that he does embody the youthfulness of Spider-Man.
Agreed.
And we get more like the real curious about technology. We see his friendships and how they grow and build. We actually get to see him be nervous about talking to somebody he likes. Like seeing how he deals with that. His relationship with Aunt May was more, which reflects more of the new generation and like the parent child like relationship. Some of them more like friendships.
Yeah,
we seen that with like him and Aunt May. She wasn't as hard on him as all the other Aunt Mays.
I don't know. All the other Aunt Mays,
especially when you found out he was Spider-Man. She was okay. If we're gonna do this, let's do it.
The thing was, I was rewatching him and I was comparing Aunt May's too, and I was like, Andrew's Aunt May was stressing, bro, because he come in just graced up, and then he just don't ask me.
So you're out every night. Where are you? And we love.
I got the eggs. I got the eggs.
He's like, I got the eggs, Aunt May. Just let me go take a hot shower and try to get some of these damn pieces of glass and shard out of me. Was stressing. And then like Toby's Aunt May was like the wise, like she was like Obi Kenobi. She was like, yo,
right? She's dropping them truth bombs on him.
Yo, she'd tell him, hey man, basically you gotta that second one when he was like going through the whole thing where he had the power block and all that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you got to get back up. Basically, get off your ass and get back out there and do it.
Yeah, she was subtly like telling him, I know who you are. I'm just being chill about it. I know what you're about. And I was like, because when I rewatched it, I was like, yeah, there ain't no denying that she didn't piece that together. Like, and I think out of all of the Spider-Man movies, I think Garfield had the best romance between the pairings, like between him and Gwen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was in my feels when she died. I was
I'll say this, and this is because this is the only reason why I give some credit to No Way Home. Mm-hmm. Now seeing that and then going back and watching Amazing Spider-Man 2, that moment when he can't catch Gwen, and then you go back and see him catch MJ and No Way Home.
Yeah,
you see the emotion. It hit harder now because it's bro.
And did you notice that he learned from his mistake and he shot himself down and then shot up instead of doing what he did in whiplashing her. Mm-hmm. Like he learned his lesson.
Man, that was tough. That was tough to watch, bro.
Oh man, look, here's the thing. I will say I related to Andrew when he quit being Spider-Man for half a year. I was like, you know what? I ain't even mad about it because if I lost someone like that, it'd be hard pressed for me to get back in the suit. Like,
what? Man, that, and then it's like he had
and
to fight.
I loved what before you get to that because I remember this one point. I love that like they used like a kid to be like the spider person to stand up to him because it shows like anyone can be Spider-Man. You know, like it reinforces that what we know about
and that
Spider-Man.
was Stan Lee's whole point. Like anybody can be Spider, and that's why I really hate so much that Andrew didn't get like a third film or a franchise.
Agreed.
Like I guarantee you that a Miles in that universe would have been so good.
He'd have been dope. Like he'd have been
It would
so
have been
cool.
so good because I think like that moment he had with the kid shows like Andrew's like passion as Spider-Man, and then like showing Peter, how he is for the like more close down to the people because it's like he was seeing himself. I remember when I was young, and I didn't know what part I had in the world because my parents are gone. I'm living with my uncle and aunt. I gotta go to school with people I don't know. So I didn't have nothing to look up to, but now you can look up to me, and that's what it's about. And even at that, he's thinking, and that's what Gwen was saying it was about. And I just love how like his whole thing, like his tribute to her was to not give up in the end.
Yeah, to find hope.
She wouldn't have wanted him to do. Yeah, she wouldn't have wanted him to give up that.
So, she was like, you gotta find hope. Like her speech was great. Like it was such a good. Like it's tied everything together. That movie is like.
It was Stone. I don't watch too many of her movies, but like the movies I have watched with her in it, she always does good. Like I haven't all the movies that I've seen with her, I've loved them. So their relationship, like I told you, I think they said too, like they had good chemistry off camera too, so it made it even like easier. And then I love how the director chose not to include MJ because they said she was supposed to be in the second one, but they took her out because they felt like it didn't go in with the whole relationship with them.
Yeah,
it would have just been like her being there, and it works because we don't have to have the redhead MJ every time. As you see with Tom, they did MJ, but it wasn't the traditional.
She wasn't MJ. Exactly. They changed it up for the different, I guess you would say, universe. I have two things that I thought of before this podcast. Yeah, two things. I propose that if they're going to bring two things, if they bring Andrew Garfield back into this like more, I think he should be like, if they decide to do a clone like saga thing, and he go, let's say, because they're doing multiverse stuff. So they go to a universe, and he's like that Ben Reilly because they're doing multiverse for the fourth movie anyway. So we're gonna keep going on this train. So why don't we do like a world where the clone saga happened, and we got him being emotional Ben Reilly. He would kill it, right?
He would.
And then
he would actually kill it.
I got another point because I really want this interaction. I want Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to meet Spider-Gwen and have that comic book actor
and it be Emma Stone. It gotta be Emma Stone.
Exactly. Though. Yes. And they have that dialogue where they're like, okay, we lost both of our
because they both lost. Yeah, she lost her Peter.
Exactly. And then they'll be like, we're gonna watch out for each other. And that is one of my favorite panels for one of the Spider-Verse storyline where they're like, we're gonna watch out for each other. I love that that dynamic. And being that we're not gonna get that from Tom because he dated MJ, I'd rather see that for Garfield because we get some more, at least a better, I say, conclusion to his storyline to give him something to fight for. He said he lost himself. You know what I mean? So I want to give him something that, okay, at least Gwen's out there alive somewhere. Give him that kind of get him out of it. But also, I just want to see a live action. If you're gonna go down the multiverse route, this
might as well go all the way.
Right?
All the way, man.
So, how do you feel about both of my little things that I suggested they do? Are you in agreement with him being like Ben Reilly? Are you like on board with that?
Yeah, I would love to see like Andrew be the Ben Reilly.
That'd be dope.
Be Ben the Downer. Depressed and stuff.
Because he's already there. He's already in that range. He's already in the range to play it. Because I was watching the movie and I was like, he'd be a good Ben Reilly. I was like, I'm gonna say that on the podcast because of course, like you got to put that out in the universe.
Yeah, I would.
But yeah, go ahead.
I would like to see, like, since you talked about Andrew, I'm gonna say
Yeah.
Toby. I would like to see, because now we got the new Ultimate Spider-Man is like older now.
Oh
He just
yeah,
changed.
yeah.
But I would want to see Toby, just a look into like Toby's world to see like what happened with him and MJ. You know, well, we know Eddie is gone and
Yep.
Harry. Like, what villains happened after that? Or I think it would be cool.
Yeah.
If listen to me now,
Okay. Okay.
hold
All
on to
right.
your seat. So when we go back to Toby's world, he's actually like he's still Spider Man, but we see him at like on the top of the roof, right? He's reading like the Daily Bugle or New York Post or whatever, and he's drinking the coffee, right? He has the like mask halfway up, and then you just hear a web whip come in. There's hey Peter, and there's Miles, and
Hey.
this
Okay.
whole time, that's the reason why he helped out Tom when he got there, is because he's been training his version of Miles, because Miles just went through his tragedy with
Yeah.
either his father or his Uncle Aaron, whichever one they choose, because it varies depending on the story. They've been doing this for a little bit, so he could take the mantle up with Toby's
Yeah.
Peter, because like he's at this point, because in real life, like Toby almost 50. So Toby, so yeah, I'm trying to retire soon. I've been getting beat up bad. Like in my 3 movies,
He's
I
like,
got my ass whooped.
he's like, I got back problems.
Yes, and then we get to see Mayday, possibly if he had a son and a daughter, you get to see Ben, and just see. I think you could do more like the family thing with Toby's, because
Yeah.
he grew up and matured a little bit faster and learned that like meaning of like friendship and family. And I feel like his films were more like a like family and love, because he lost so much. Like he
He
didn't lose
did.
Gwen, but when he lost Harry, you could tell like that hurt him, because
Mm-hmm.
for one, he didn't want to have to fight Harry from the get go. He already had to go through the thing with his dad not wanting to kill him, because he looked up to him as a mentor. So he was going through it with that. And like at the end, it gave him like that relief. At least he didn't go out the way his father did. He came and helped. So it made him and MJ try to work things out and stuff like that. So I think if they was to do that, I would want to see a Miles in that universe. And I ain't talking about like he ain't even gotta be high school. I'm talking about college grad, not college grad, but like college Miles. He's
A little older.
a little bit more seasoned.
You could do that honestly, because the Toby universe, Toby was pushing like 30 at the time of the end of the film. I feel like he was more close to 30 or whatever like that. So let's say 10, 15 years went by since all of Spider-Man. He's probably already got a mortgage and a kid on the way, man. Like he's not trying
Yeah,
to be Spider-Man no more. So
yeah,
he's teaching.
and it just makes that, like I said, it just makes that like moment where he stops, he jumps in front of Tom and stops taking out
Mm-hmm.
Norman. So I think that would be cool. That would be mine, since you did
Hey,
Andrew.
I just like
That's what I
sprinkle
would
that a
want to
little
see.
bit. I just sprinkle
Yeah,
in a
because
little
like
bit
you
of that.
said,
The
we on this train right now. Y'all didn't
might as
open up this
well.
multiverse thing and talking about y'all finna close it out. So give me what I want if y'all gonna do it like that.
Right, right. Put it in there real quick and then like wrap it up.
Yeah,
So,
it ain't even gotta be a whole. It could be a 2 minute scene, and I'll be straight.
oh yeah, you could peek into another world and let me see that for a second, and then close the book on it. I'm good. Like I don't need a hour or 30 minutes. I don't even honestly. I only need 5 minutes.
Mhm.
That's it. A little look in, see what's going on, and then you can take it out. But this is on a. I'm gonna go back to talking about, let's say, Tom. What do you feel about there being another movie that's related to multiverse after his third movie? Because in his third movie, they ended things off with him being alone and nobody really knowing who he is, which set up for him to be more grounded in the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So, how do you feel about them going and revoking that whole entire process to bring everybody back?
It saddens me because it takes away from us finally getting to see what Tom could do as
Mm,
like the neighborhood Spider Man, and actually seeing him like, because there's no Tony, May is gone,
yeah.
everybody's forgotten Peter, but nobody forgot Spider-Man. So he get to have that fun now where like Spider-Man is the celebrity and he's just Peter Parker. So now he gets to relive, he gets to reshape his life. And I thought it was so cool that they even ended it off with like a scene straight out the comic books, like Spider-Man getting an apartment.
Yeah.
He's by himself. It's a rundown apartment. He's finally becoming like we finally getting the Toby and Andrew all in one, even with the suit, because he saw him and he wanted to make his own suit like they did.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, the swing, the ending when he meets MJ, and it's like he has this like epiphany of, hey, I had this whole plan to try to get her to remember me. But then when he realized, like he saw the scar, and that was like the reminder of what happened, and he was like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm just gonna let it be natural if it happens because that's how it should be. If somebody really did love you, you should just be able to make that connection again. So I thought it
Mm-hmm.
would be like cool to see that, and now that I'm hearing that, is how they gonna like bridge that gap? Is it gonna be like a couple years? Is he gonna have his GED now? He gonna already be? Is he gonna be at what was it? MIT they went to? Is that what
MIT.
it?
Yeah. MIT.
What's the college that they got for Spider Man? Is it Empire State?
It might be Empire State.
I think
Because
it's
I know
I think
MIT.
it's
I
like
know
Empire.
MIT was in the movie from what I remember.
Yeah,
Like I
but
think
the
they
fictional
were
college, I think it's Empire State or something like that.
something like
So
that.
it's like, where are we gonna be? How is he gonna get thrown into the multiverse? What at this point? What else could it be that he has to do, or that's gonna come? It doesn't give us a chance to like really see him do his thing. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate, but Marvel gonna be Marvel right now. That's all I'm gonna say. They're gonna
Uh,
do what they do,
they're
and I
gonna
guess
do
they
what
call
they're gonna
themselves
do.
trying to close out this chapter, but it's like y'all opened it up, and now y'all trying to close it out and cram it in all these movies that don't make no sense. But that's another podcast for
That's a
another
whole
day.
nother podcast. I
Yeah,
think the thing that because when I'm watching Tom's movies and stuff like that, the second one still for me is probably the weaker of them, just because
yeah,
there's just so much fluff in it. I know they're supposed to build up this romance and stuff like that, but it really doesn't. It really comes out of nowhere.
yeah. It
You know what I
doesn't
mean?
feel
Like
natural.
it feels like we missed a whole movie of them setting him up with MJ. You know what I mean? We went from him with what's her? I forget her name from the first
I
one,
forgot her name.
but his love interest in the first one.
Was
You
it
know, if you,
Liz?
yeah, it was Liz. I was about to say in the
Yeah,
comments if you remember, it was down there, but he got me. That relationship, and then like any of that movie, they weren't even really talking like that, so it
yeah.
wasn't really set up right. You
And then
know?
remember too, it was like after they had got blipped, all of them got blipped, so they were gone, and then it just came back. And it was okay. So we just gonna come back from the blip, and then automatically he get he built a
Right?
relationship.
They're building
So
a whole relationship. He's infatuated with her now, which I mean, I feel like they did that just to check off some boxes
yeah,
that they need to check off because they introduced her in the first one. And
like
well, go ahead.
I feel like was it Far From Home? I feel like
Yeah,
that's where they should have inserted Gwen
yeah,
because then it would have gave like a situation where it's okay. Here's the plot. Here's the plot twist. Now he likes MJ, but this girl likes him, and she's showing interest in him now, and she knows some stuff. So now is that roadblock, and just
yep,
when MJ was starting to open up and feel like she could be comfortable, she sees that. So now she's still, yeah, we just friends or whatever. So then by the third one, it raises the stakes a little bit more. And when Andrew comes in that world and he sees a Gwen, he's oh snap! It's a Gwen in this world. And then because you always need like that thing to ruffle it up. So it'd be like you had to go through a few bumps and curves to get to the girl you really want. Just like Toby, he had a Gwen and he had the whole thing going on, and that's
oh, let's
why
not,
everybody need a Gwen at the end of the
man,
day.
let's not talk about Spider-Man 3 and how much of a jerk
What
Peter
they
was in
call
that movie.
Bully Maguire.
Yeah, Bully Maguire. He was in his Bully Maguire era because my dude literally was just the worst. He brought her to the show knowing MJ was there, and just a stunt on MJ. Really
Then dance, did a whole dance,
did a whole dance number
and
with
then
a piano company.
and then turned around and slung MJ off of him, and I was like, oh snap!
I was like, oh man, my boy was going off. He was like you said, he was on something else. That movie. I get
Yeah.
why, obviously, because I watched the movie and it was a symbiote. I understand. Don't come at me in the comments. I get it. I understand. But like,
Hey man, though, can we just side note the black suit though? Because that's the only.
oh yeah, that black. Listen,
Then when they
I
first introduced it, when he was on
was on
the
on
build,
the yes,
and then you hear
yes.
that famous, I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
No,
yes,
here's the
bro.
thing. Here's the thing. I liked Black Suit Spider-Man. I paused it on that scene just to take in the suit because it's the
Dude.
black version of the suit, but it's
And did you
good.
notice how he moved different in the black suit?
Yeah.
Like it was more smooth and like his movements was like fluent and he did like
Mm-hmm.
the flips. It's like he almost didn't make noises like when he touched the ground and stuff. And I was like, bro.
No, what made me laugh is when like Black Suit Toby tried to like he was like talking to Eddie, and like he's like he's what do you say? He's like, later chump, and I laughed because I was like, it just didn't come out right.
Bruh, that and then when he's Eddie, you gonna cry now? Huh? Huh? I was like, bruh.
I'm like, that was
But
so funny.
it
It
worked because it
it
was
did.
like it was changing his moves. And of course, if you've been like a nice guy your whole life and a nerd, when you get that and it changes like your alternates your personality, it's gonna be funny to us because it's like he's never been mean before, so it's gonna come
Right?
off as it's a joke, but he's like dead ass.
Nah, I will say one thing because like Harry was like, and I was mad because Harry like got mad at him for throwing that bomb in his face, but I was like, you threw it at him.
Bro, like
You
you
got
tried to kill
right.
that
You tried to
man.
kill me, and you gonna be mad at me that I flung it back at you smoothly like that. But yeah,
You
like
should have been happy that he didn't kill him. I mean,
right.
shoot, because that's supposed to kill most people.
It turned them executive into skeletons in the first one.
That's
Remember?
what I'm saying, bro. I was like, bro, get your panties out the bunch, man. You still walking around here. You get to fight another day. You
No,
know.
but
How did you feel about
go ahead.
as far as like the three
Mm-hmm.
with all of their villains? Who do you think had the stronger villains though?
Ooh, listen. I would if I wouldn't have done my rewatch, I would have said Toby like unanimously, but Andrew's or some
Man,
heavy hitters too.
hey, look,
Andrew or some heavy hitters. Okay?
rewatching two with
Yeah.
Electro at the end and
Yeah.
that power plant. I was like,
Yes.
dude, that was like
Right?
something straight out of the comic books, bro. In the games, like that's one of them like levels on the game where you
Mm-hmm.
hate it because you got to play
Yeah.
it 3 times because you don't know what's gonna happen, bro. It was so dope.
It was good. Like I say, Jamie Foxx underrated in that role.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
love that they when he came back. I loved his new design when he came back in No Way Home because one, I think the comb over was probably my least favorite part of his original design. His like comb over that Jamie Foxx had.
Oh yeah,
I didn't really like that. So
bro.
like when he came back with a crisp fade, I was like, all right,
It's the nerd trope, bro.
yeah,
It's
mm-hmm.
the villain nerd trope. Like every villain that was a nerd, they have to look like that, like the
Yeah,
glasses,
they gotta look
and they
like,
real clumsy and they be
mm-hmm.
fumbling. I'm like, bro, look at me and you. We nerds. I got the braids. You be having a nice fade. Like we know how to take care of ourselves. We
Right?
just ain't walking around here looking crazy. So I'm like, all they had to do was give Jamie a nice fade, give him some glasses, and even at that, you could have just gave him a little mustache. That way, it would have
Yeah,
topped off the nerd
it had
thing. But
topped off the look, but they
they had
had
to
to do
give him the comb over, bro. I
the
was like,
comb over
what?
was so criminal, man.
And then it's Jamie Foxx. Like he ain't a bad looking dude, so it's like he trying to make him look like that. It is not believable. Like
At all, man. Jamie Foxx did the best he could with the script that he was given in the
he
beginning.
did.
Because there was some I was like, Jamie, I know you a good actor. I know you doing your best right now. Because they didn't
Mm-hmm.
helping you. But when he got into his electro bag, it was great.
Oh man.
Like
Oh
when
man.
I love the scene where like they take that guy that was like treating Harry like he was like trying to like ice him out of his company, and he shocked him, and then he brought him back to life. He's clear and brought him back to life. That I love that scene. That was so great. I was like, okay. I was like, Electro, you're probably one of, and I think I wrote that in my notes. I was like, Electro, new favorite of the villains for sure.
definitely.
Top 5.
Definitely
When he
say.
came back and he had the electrician suit on, they gave him that electrician suit because he came in a universe with no clothes on.
With no clothes, butt booty naked. He's like, hey man, y'all ain't got no clothes around here.
I like when Sandman was like, I'm just trying to ignore it. Like he's like, you're gonna ignore it? Like, yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna say definitively, and it's controversial, even though I love Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 3 was better, like the original from Tobey. I'm gonna say I like Garfield. His villain's better, a little bit better, just a little bit. No hate to Tobey's, because they all were solid.
Yeah.
It's just Lizard, which I like his design. As an adult, going back, I love his design. Like before, I was like, I wish he had the snout, but I'm like, nah, he's cool without. Yeah, and then him having the lab coat on, I was like, chef's kiss, man. The lab coat on the Lizard, chef's kiss. And then I even liked, I think he's credited as the Hobgoblin, but I'm gonna call him Green Goblin because
we didn't get a Green Goblin in that.
Yeah, so I like it more. I know what they were trying to go for, and I like it a lot more than I did when I was first seeing it. I was like stuck on that Willem Dafoe performance. And now that I'm an adult and I say separate those performances, I'm like, I see what he was. Like, I don't think Harry was the best. Like, Harry Osborn was in the movie. He wasn't the best Harry Osborn, but he was definitely a decent Goblin. Not Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe can play the crap out of Goblin.
Willem Dafoe is like the GOAT.
He is, man. Nobody's touching him, but he didn't do a bad job. So that's my pick. I already know you're gonna put Tobey there. It's already set in stone.
You know
it's already set in stone.
We got Doc, we got Green Goblin, then we got Sandman and Venom.
Listen, if it wasn't for Lizard and Electro, I probably would have went with Tobey.
Yeah, and that's why I was torn. Like when I went back and rewatched it, because I was like, dang, but I like them too. And I was like, man. We was robbed because we was gonna get a Sinister Six, so that means we was gonna get to see his version of Doc, his Sandman. Oh, it was gonna be so good.
It was gonna be great.
And I think we would have got a black suit Spiderman.
Oh, we would have. It would have been perfect.
And that's why I didn't understand why they didn't bring him back to be in like any of the Venom films.
They would have, because he's perfect for the universe.
Those are Sony movies.
Yeah.
I don't get how you have. What, three movies?
Venoms.
No, four. How many was it? 4, 3?
3 Venoms. We had Morbius, and then
and then Craven's supposed to come out, and we got
and then we had the Spider. We had the Madam Web movie.
Oh Lord, I forgot all about that. Jesus.
We're not putting Madam Web in the conversation here.
Yeah, we're just trying to remember. But damn, so you had all those movies and not one Spider-Man. That is crazy.
Wow, I don't know how you make a universe without Spider-Man and then have Spider-Man villains.
They did it. That's how. They did it. It just wasn't good.
At the end of the day, like I say, heroes are shaped by their villains and villains are shaped by their heroes. If you don't have a direct correlation between the two, or they don't like intersect, your movies are going to come off bad. Yeah, and I think that's what I think Tom's kind of suffers from, because most of his villains have a beef with Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the ones in the third movie, like they had a beef with Tony Stark.
But that's the thing; those weren't his villains.
Exactly. Oh my word! Exactly. And I think
just think about it. He literally didn't have a villain from his universe.
He did not.
In the third movie, they were all from another universe.
They were all from different universes. And here's the thing: I think the late inclusion of the spider sense is a criminal thing to his character. It's criminal. Yeah. Like bringing that in what was that, the second movie? Mm-hmm. When the Vulture
they hinted it in what was that? Endgame? No, was it Endgame?
Oh yeah, because he was on the ship and he was like so they did kind of hint it, but
still, and then in Doctor Strange, in the Far From with him and Doctor Strange in that movie. But I'm like, bro, it took this long. It took this long for y'all we got to see it in Far From Home.
Yeah.
When he did the thing with Mysterio.
Yeah, we got to see it in there, but I think it should have been in the car scene with Vulture, or in any of that movie when he was fighting the Vulture was coming up.
Because we all know when he first gets his powers, that's like the one thing that comes with it. Because he's trying to figure out like why it's ringing and stuff like
Exactly.
that. And I'm like, bro, like that's one of the powers he gets. Like before, that ain't like nothing that develops in the end like that. He get that off
You
rip.
get that right off rip. Exactly. And I'm thinking, because think about it, in that first scene when the vulture is coming to grab him, his spider sense should have went off. If it's fear-based or if it's based on danger, because that's what he said in the second one. He was like, I'm not afraid of a banana or something like that. Or he's like, the banana's not scaring me. So that's why it didn't go off. But the vulture came and tried to grab you. You should have already been on demon time. You should have been like, what? So I think that hurts them. And I have to ask you a question. What's the best display of spiders in the movies? What is your favorite display of the spider sense?
Toby's is cool because
I like. Oh man. Okay, go ahead.
Only because I'm not saying it's the best one, but it's cool because the sound and how it's like when it happens, right? It's like everything sits still and it pulls out. Like he stays in frame, but it pulls out. So he's focused, but you see everything pulling out, and then it slows, and then it snaps back, and whatever happens, you get to see him like miss it and stuff. So it's like a little bit of slow motion, and then a little bit of, like the way that I think the way they execute it is why I like it.
Yeah.
But Andrew.
Oh boy. Yeah. Andrew is tough
because we get to see his in the fights.
Yeah.
That's what makes his so good. Toby's was more like we saw it in the fights, but we seen it more like when he was with MJ. And then we really, I think we saw it more so that first fight with Green Goblin, but after that, it was kind of like you know when it was coming because you hear it. But man, Andrews, it was another level.
And I also like his simplistic one when he would when they were about to get shocked by the metal pole and he saw everything going down and then he was like flip, you know what I'm saying? That was cool. But I do like that it was more in his combat and he was able to dodge a lot of stuff. Like when he dodged those bullets, he was jumping and he dodged the bullets by moving his body in certain motions to dodge them and then webbed them. You know, that was
cool. He definitely had the more the body. Oh, that's not the body. What am I trying to say? He had the movements down packed. They had the Spider-Man movements really down packed with him. Like I said, it was like the video game. The newest video games with him in that one. But I will say this. Out of the three, since we're talking about spider senses, out of the three though, Tobey the strongest. And you can't argue that one. You can't argue that one.
Listen. You know what I said in the comment? Hey, I'm not going to argue it. I'm going to give you a counterpoint, all right? I'm going to give you a little bit of a counterpoint.
I know what you mean to say, but go ahead.
Because we just don't got the display. We don't got the repertoire for Garfield, okay? Because at the end of the day, sure, he's stronger because he did stop a bloodlusted Tom, okay? So we can put that on stat, all right? But I'm just saying, don't say that.
Okay, the man stopped the whole train, bro.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Now I ain't saying Andrew is weak because he was catching cars and he was holding his weight. He had to fight a lizard.
He fought lizards. Okay, let's not be like all the other people foughting him. Okay.
Toby caught the train.
Yeah,
he was stopping cars. He had to fight Sandman and Venom at the same time. So it's
listen,
that endurance and strength that Tobey had was something else, bro.
Okay, I'll give it to you for those reasons because I honestly don't have enough on Andrew Garfield's thing to counter Overshot.
That's the only reason.
As long as you give my boy respect and say he's not weak, because everybody will sit there and down him and stuff like that. They'll be like, oh, he's not that strong. I'm like,
the man caught a car in mid-air like this and then just put it down like it wasn't nothing.
And then he fought not only Electro, but the Green Goblin in the same kind of area.
Yeah, and then we got Tom. He's just Tom. You
know? He doesn't got the feast for me. He doesn't got any. Yeah. I'd say his strongest thing is
lift the rubber.
Yeah, but he had to dig deep for that. I think that's just because I look at the three films like this. I look at Tobey as being the adult, mature guy, and then Andrew Garfield being the middle of them, the high school about to be college level, just starting off. And they're looking at Tom as like a kid, like a super kid version of the character. So he doesn't have any of the, he's not knowing that he can live tons. Like he's not in tune with that. But I will say one thing that proved, and I will concede a little bit because I just thought of a Tobey scene that definitely I can compare with the Tom scene. When Tobey was put on a rebel, he got angry and just blew them things up.
Bro,
when
I was
like,
about it, and I was like, oh snap!
He was mad. I was like,
though. Tom did almost pull the boat together. Even though Iron Man came and helped him at the end, but like you said, he hadn't realized how strong he was yet. Because but Tobey definitely the strongest.
I'll concede. I don't have the feats, I don't have the stats for it, but as long as you give my boy respect, we cool. But Missy, I got we did villains. And I already know you're going with Tobey when it comes to movies, unless you're gonna like best movies that we've had, like from 1 to 3 for their displays.
So are we just picking out of all of them in an order, or are we just picking like the franchise?
I would say we're just picking. That's an interesting one because I was thinking based on just like complete works of each of them. But I would say you can add in like which one you thought were the better of the 3. Like you can rank them, but also I'll say it like this: you can choose one of the 3 or whatever, like Tobey or whatever. But you can also order them from favorite if you want.
Yeah, I'll do it like this. So definitely Tom is at the bottom, and it's not because I don't like it. It's just that's just where it stands.
Yeah, I agree.
Over the years, Andrew, I've grown on Andrew's films more, but Tobey is still gonna be at the top for me as a whole. Because we got three of his like 3 movies. If Andrew would have got a 3rd film and I got to see like the whole like growth of Spider-Man, then I could make a better argument. But as far as I'll say this, as far as the movies though, for me it goes Spider-Man 2 and the Sam Raimi one.
Okay.
Then I would say the Amazing Spider-Man.
Ooh, okay. All right.
The first Spider-Man in the Raimi universe. Then I would say Spider-Man 3. Then 2, Homecoming, No Way Home, and then Far From Home. That's how I would go.
Okay. I'm going to say, so for the first part of the question, I'm going to go more Garfield just because I got that ultimate feel and it reminded me of the video games. But I do love Tobey's, and they're all solid. And it's not because I don't like them. It's just Andrew hit differently when I watched him as like rewatched them. They hit a lot differently. And I saw the full, like where they were trying to go with it.
You saw the potential.
I saw the potential, and my man was robbed. I'll die on the hill. He was robbed.
Definitely. Big time.
But I'll agree with you on my first one is Spider-Man 2, the Raimi one. And then I'm gonna go Amazing Spider-Man 2, because I love that movie. So both the first 2 the sequels of theirs.
Yeah.
And then surprisingly, I'm gonna go Spider-Man 3 from the original Raimi's because I love it more now. It's so the villains are just ripped right out of the comics. Like you can't get any better than that. Like all of them look like they're comic book characters, like to the T. Like Sandman is ripped right out of the pages, man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 1, the Raimi one, because it just doesn't hit as hard as 2 and 3. Honestly, it's not because it's bad.
It's an introduction film.
Exactly, it's an introduction film. And then I'm gonna say Amazing Spider-Man, the first one. Actually, no, I'll take it back. I'll say Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, where Tobey's was, and I'll switch them. Okay. I'll put Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, and I'll put Spider-Man number 1. And then I'll do No Way Home, just because I get to see my boys. So, of course, it's going to be the best of the 3.
Yeah.
Then it's Homecoming, and then it's Far From Home is probably my least favorite. No, actually, take it back. No, I'll switch. I'm going to do a switch. No, Far From Home, and then Homecoming, because I didn't really like Homecoming like that. Like Vulture was great, but that Iron Man being there so much just sours it for me.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put Homecoming. I'm gonna move No Way Home up
Okay.
to one, and then Homecoming and Far From Home. Yeah.
So
I would go like that.
Okay. Yeah, so here at the Square Round Table, we got difference of opinions on the movie order, but we both rocking with the first two
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
we rocking with the OGs, and this
Yeah.
is not all talk down on Tom Holland
Oh, no,
because
no.
it's a good one. It
Yeah.
is comic book accurate. It's
Mm-hmm.
just they didn't hit a lot of points. They wasted a lot of stuff that could have happened in the
Mm-hmm.
films. They totally disregarded Uncle Ben. And
Yeah,
even
that was
though
tragic.
we didn't need an origin story, but just like with Matt Reeves' Batman, how they mentioned like the Wayne family, you could have mentioned them or had a picture of them or something. Things happen. It is what it is. So now
Mm-hmm.
when we thought we was gonna get that kind of Spider-Man, they talking about multiverse. So that's what kind of hurts him as far as like the other ones. I think because they came before all this, they can stand alone by themselves
Yeah.
because it's not part of a like a bigger universe. And I
Yeah.
think that's what hurts Tom the most because he didn't get to stand on his own and become Spider Man. We didn't even get to really see him in his like mock up suit. I mean, at the
Yeah.
end, but like in action, like when he was first
When
starting
it's
out.
exactly.
So I I just wanted to say that just to give that like we don't hate. It's just
No.
they don't stand up to the classics, and it's not because they classics. It's just because it's certain elements that hold it back because it has its moments. It definitely has.
Oh yeah, it definitely have this moment. The action scenes are great. Like when he does do his Spider-Man stuff, I'm in it. Okay. But I think what was I gonna say? Oh man, let me try to think about it. I think we're gonna say I think involving or I think that's what it was. I think the other spider folk or people or whatever you want to classify them as men. Okay, we'll do it like that. They had chances to build their world before they got like their spider villains and stuff like that. So you knew Peter Parker had this nerddom, he had all these struggles and stuff like that. And Toby's first, you knew all these beats of the world. You knew they set up J. Jonah Jameson, Triple J.
J.
The
Jonah
J, the J be tongue
definitely a
twisting me
tongue twister.
sometimes. But the Triple J, they got a chance to set up all these things that we are familiar with before really diving into these like villains that were going to be popping up, and so that helped them out. But also, like they just needed to stick more to what Spider-Man's origins are and get those. Marvel calls them anchor points. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna steal that. There are certain anchor points that Spider-Man needs, and Uncle Ben being dying and saying his line is what sets up everything for
Yeah,
Spider-Man going
they
forward.
stole that away from us. They
Yeah,
definitely did.
and making it late in the third one and having May said does not save it. It just feels rushed and lazy, and that hurts his films. And I don't like I said, like Marcus said, I don't dislike his films. They're great in their own way. They just don't stand up to the worlds and stuff that was created in the other ones. So they don't have that authentic Spider-Man brand of like certain anchor points that we've established. And I think that if they're gonna go this multiverse route and this that the other, and they're gonna do all this stuff like that, I think that they honestly listen, they're gonna put Miles in the universe, and I'm assuming it's gonna be either then the fourth one or the fifth one or the sixth one because I think he's in a 6 year a 6 movie contract or something like that. So I think their next best thing is to go for the fourth one, him be like 5 or a few years in the future where he's at the very least established in a company, or he's maybe they take him into a science route and he's working at one of these companies or whatever like that. And then teasing Mile or whatever like that. That's his only kind of thing is just being able to bridge the gap between him and a new Spider folk. Because at the end of the day, if we're going multiverse route, you're not really spending much time on making Tom a better Spider person. You're just using what worked to get you guys back in the good graces with the fans, which was cameos. And that's hurting Tom, his portrayal of Spider-Man. He needs to be set up in his own universe, doing his own thing for him to, at the very least, stand a better chance of being a Spider, I guess he's someone's favorite Spider-Man out there. There always is a person who likes a Spider folk that maybe not everybody likes, but I feel like he'd resonate more with audiences if they spent time grounding him a little bit better. I think that's a ringing bell that we're ringing every 5 or 10 minutes in this podcast. He needs to be more grounded. He needs to be like, I think, wasn't it in Far From Home? Didn't he turned down? No, it wasn't Far From Home. It was Homecoming. He turned down Tony Stark because he wanted to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and then proceeds to be Avenger. They don't really let that pay off. It's like they're too scared to let him be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. They got to bring in Doctor Strange or Tony Stark, or I'm assuming they're going to bring in probably Deadpool or something like that in the next movie. Deadpool going to show up and do a one-liner or something like that. And I'm just padding their runtime at this point in time. I'm just helping to make that new movie that they're going to introduce Multiverse.
Oh man,
you got access to Deadpool.
Why do you say these things? You make me nervous.
I'm not making you nervous. I'm just calling them out so when they come true, I can say, I said so. I'm just rambling at the end of the day about things that they could do that they're probably not going to do. There's a lot of things that they're not going to do. But in the end of the day, I'm going to ask you. Oh, I wanted to ask one more question before everything's wrapped up. Whose supporting cast do you think is the best? The ones around Spider-Man. Who do you think were the best supporting characters we had? Yeah. Did I ask a hard one or the? No, it's not hard.
It's not hard. It's hard to choose. Because Tobey and Andrew had a strong cast.
They did.
I'm gonna have to go Tobey because
listen,
dude, look, I'm sorry, you got bro.
Yeah,
William Dafoe, Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst. What's his name? Dang it.
You talking about James Franco?
James Franco. I think I'm about to say his name wrong, but like Alfred Minority, whatever it is.
Oh, you're talking about Doc Ock, yeah.
Yeah, the guy who played Sandman. Then got Topher Grace, Venom.
Okay. Yeah.
My boy for Jay Jonah. They had Radio Raheem as Ralphie. Then they had Bryce Dallas Howard as Quinn.
That cat is stacked.
They had Detective Stacy, Joe Jonah's son in there. Felicia was in there.
Man,
Aunt May, Uncle Ben was good. We had Macho Man, Randy Savage in the first one. Then our boy who was gonna be Mysterio in the fourth one, Glenn Campbell. So I'm sorry, bro. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Andrew had a good cast, but damn, Tobey had some hitters, man. And we talking about some of these people went to win some Oscars, okay?
Yeah. I got to give it to Tobey as well. I want to give it to Garfield because I'm becoming more of a Garfield fan as the days go. But
when you look at it on paper,
it's I agree. I agree. I agree. Yeah. So I want to ask the final question because we've been dancing around the topic. Who's the best live action Spider-Man for you?
The best live action Spider-Man for me. And Lord, do I love you, Tobey, but Andrew.
Let's go! Yes. Thank you for joining my team because that's me too. I thought that
Andrew is the best live action Spider-Man because he is Spider-Man. Not to say he's not good at Peter because his Peter is a little awkward and he's a little over emotional, but they all are at this point. Spider-Man, it just works. His relationship with Gwen, support. That she gives him and Aunt May, they have a good relationship. So, I just really enjoy Andrew's version a little better than Tobey because Tobey had to get like real serious real quick. So we missed like the playful side of Spider-Man with him. But like I always say, if it wasn't for Tobey, Andrew wouldn't have got to play in that sandbox because he set the bar as what it looks like to be Spider-Man. So Andrew got to see, he was like, okay, this is what you do as Peter. I'm going to mix a little bit of this and then bring this in there from the comics and stuff. Because at the same time, like, when Sam Raimi made those movies, Ultimate Spider-Man was like new. It had just started, like I think a year before it came out, or it started
Yeah, I
while the
think
film was.
so.
So all these comics are starting at that time. So by the time Andrew's making his films, like he has all this material to pull from, even with like TV shows, like the animated shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
like Toby had to mold it and figure out how to do it, and then Andrew just came in and was like, "Thanks, Toby, I got it from here." So because of that, we have to give like Toby the respects on it, but I think Andrew did it a little better.
Yeah. So I agree. I'm Team Andrew right now because not only is his Spider-Man the best, I would say, portrayal of what you expect from Spider-Man, but I just love the more they focused, I think, a little bit more on his sciencey part of him and him understanding how to. And they did the same thing in Tobey's universe, but he had midlife crisis stuff going on most of the movie. So they didn't really get a chance to like really focus on that stuff. But in Andrew's universe, him and Gwen were both like sciencey gifted. They were number 1 and 2 in their class, and he was the only Spider-Man to pick up a lab coat when they all met up. Like he was the only Spider-Man to put on a lab coat. I like that. I was like, yes, okay. I think, and I do think that both Toby and Andrew both, especially when they came back in the most recent film, they both learned by that time how to be the perfect models for the new Peter and talked about their battles and stuff like that. But I think that Andrew has lost, like, he has probably one of the most comic book accurate losses of life that we ever get to see. He lost Gwen Stacy literally almost similar to the way that it happened in the comic. Like
it was because of him. So
yeah, like that just puts him over the edge. And also his Spider-Man 2 costume is probably the best Spider-Man costume we ever gonna get.
Yeah.
Like down to the colors, down to the eye movements, down to the
most comic book accurate.
The quips. His quips are his quips. My favorite scene is when he was in the car and the guy was trying to get out and he was like, nope.
Yeah,
I love that scene. When he's like, he was like trying to get out of the car.
That's what I enjoyed about him. So that's why I said that's why he took the crown. So yeah, man. Yeah. Toby, love you. You always my favorite. But yeah, I got to.
In the conversation, we got to give it to Garfield. So in my ranking, it's going to be Garfield, Toby, and then Tom. Yes. And that's going to be what it is until we get some more movies from Tom, and maybe he can wager because he's got 3 more movies in the wing. I think he signed on for 6, I think, if I remember correctly.
That poor man. He's going to be so tired when he done. He's going to retire from acting.
So I thought I said that was the last question, but I just thought of another one. Potential Spider-Man 4 villains that you would be excited to see if we're going down the multiverse route.
I don't know.
And even if we're not, I
don't know, because right now with Marvel, I'm not excited about anything they doing.
Yeah,
so it's hard to try to be excited. I will say, if it's gonna be any villains, I would predict probably. I could see them having somebody like Tombstone or.
Okay, that's fair.
Because we got Daredevil with Kingpin, and then he's Matt now. Somebody like Tombstone. Because it's not gonna be like one of the big 6, because that's gonna probably be the whole multiverse thing. But if anything, it'll be like a Tombstone or Chameleon.
Okay.
We got Shocker, but it's not gonna be like a big villain. It's gonna be like
you trying to narrow the multiverse down to some street level. You trying to wish for street level guys, like very
because it's like they probably gonna use those for the multiverse part of it. It's it's probably gonna be the same like Green Goblin.
Yeah.
They
can't use Green Goblin.
They can't use
Green Goblin because Oscorp doesn't exist.
Probably the Prowler or something.
I could see the Prowler because that's how they introduced Miles, because Miles is already in the universe anyway. So like they could, yeah. For me, I was gonna say Green Goblin because they're gonna multiverse it because they can't use this universe unless they're gonna say in the last they're gonna do a time skip and in 5 years Oscorp blossoms up to be this new startup company or whatever like that, and then this guy is back there. I'm not gonna. Sorry, Marvel. I'm not gonna spill your beans on what you're doing. Let me correct myself. I'm not gonna say that they're gonna use the Green Goblin or anything like that, and I'm not gonna write your script for you because you're in a hole right now. You can't introduce Green Goblin in this universe because they don't exist. You can't even do Hobgoblin because you have no Green Goblin. But they could use Scorpion because he's technically in the universe.
Yeah, that's why I said it's gonna be like a street level. It's not gonna be like a big threat.
They should use Stiltsman.
Oh God, no. That is a ridiculous costume.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Hey, give us some laugh on this one. You know what I'm saying? You gonna put us in the multiverse, make us laugh, okay?
Some like Hydro Man, like he might fight Hydro Man or somebody at the beginning.
I mean, they did tease him in No Way Home, not No Way Home, Far From Home. They talked about Hydro Man in that little
element. Yeah, it just depends. That's when I'm setting the bar at that because I'm not really expecting much. Not that I'm not expecting much, but I'm not like, oh, who's gonna be?
Isn't Venom in the universe though?
No, he went back, but
they leave the symbiote. Yeah, I'm saying. Didn't leave the symbiote there? So,
yeah, so it's probably gonna be Agent.
Maybe we can have a.
Oh no! Hopefully, we get Eddie Brock first, though.
Yeah, I want Eddie Brock because out of all the Flashes, I don't like the one from the Tom Holland one. Like that's not my thing. Here's the thing that I don't like about, and sorry, rambling again, but I gotta get this off my chest. Two things off my chest. I just thought about my first point, but at no point in time in the movie did I ever think that Flash was like a threat to Peter. I was like, just punch him in the face.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, I hate they made him the whole rich kid.
Yeah, here's the thing. No hate to the actor who played him because he did the best he could, but they did not make him intimidating enough where I wasn't just punch him in the face.
Yeah, he was not Flash at all.
He was not. I'm hoping we're getting Eddie Brock, and if we are getting Agent Venom, I hope that they treat the character a little bit better because I guess technically in No Way Home they solved their they bridged their like hate or disdain for each other because they like he knew that he's Peter Parker, but I guess now maybe that doesn't exist anymore because no, they can actually make it work because he like Spider-Man. He would just be like, "Oh, hey, Spider-Man, you're cool" or whatever, and want to work with him. So it technically could still work. But the original point that I wanted to say about in the beginning of the podcast, I might have already said this thing's been going on for a while, but put No Way Home on Disney Plus. Stop making people pay for it on a separate streaming platform. You cash grab, man. Okay, stop it. Put it on Disney Plus, man. I don't want to pay a separate $3.99 when I got a Disney Plus account, which is going up by the way. So you might as well put it on there.
Might as well.
Might as well, because you grabbing more money out of my pocket, so you might as well put it on there. That was my last point. We've deemed the live action Spider-Man. I had to get out my soapbox for a second to tell Disney to get their stuff together, man. Like, why are we not localizing our properties? But do you have any final remarks, man?
No, man. I think you said it all. You covered all the grounds, man. Like I said here. Square Round Table. We appreciate all Spider-Man. We just have our favorites. Shout out to all the animated versions of them too, even though this was a video for the animated. We love us some Spider-Man over here. So whenever we get a chance to talk about it, we can. If y'all want us to talk about any other characters, live action, where it's more than one of that character.
I mean, we could drop honestly, we could do a Batman video. I'm down.
Yeah. But nah. So if it's any heroes or villains you want to see us talk about in the future, just let us know or tell us your favorites. We always here to have a good time and talk this stuff for you guys, so y'all can have some things to talk about. It's my favorite part of the show, and because it's a Spider-Man. Let me see if I can do it.
Okay, I'm down.
So you menace. I guess it's the part of the show where you do your little shameless plug, promotional, whatever it is, or whatever you want to call it. But I'm telling you now, if you think you're going to compete with my show, which is the best in the world. Your little square round tables. Hey. I know y'all can see me, but it's time for the shameless promotional. Cause that guy, he was finna ruin it. Boom!
Boom.
That's for the people that's gonna hear it. But I know if y'all see it, y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but I don't care. But yeah, he be hating. He hating on us. So
He hate on the
if
Square
we
on
just
Table
go in
podcast.
with that shame, this
All
promotional.
right. I got him. If you want to catch this video and any place, you can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on squareroundtablepod.fandomloom.com, and you can catch us on Rap Nerd on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 o'clock. And also hit us up on our socials, our Instagram. I'm not calling it I'm not calling it X. I'm calling it Twitter, and our Discord, where we talk about all things nerd. And also come in there and you can even suggest topics you want us to talk about. If you want us to talk about different versions of Batman or animated Spiderman or anything like that, or anything else, we're down to talk about it. We'll make an episode all about it. So let us know. And also, if you disagree with our agree or disagree with our Spider-Man that we chose as the reigning champ, let us know in the comment section down below. And also, if you're a Tom Holland Spider-Man, that's your favorite one, let us know down there because I need a tally.
Yeah, I want to
know the record. Let us know. And also, let us know your favorite villain from the entirety of these. Let us know which one you liked, which one you didn't like in the comment section down below. Who was your favorite pair of the Spider Folk when it came to romance and supporting characters and suits and universes and stuff like that? What was your picks? Let us know down in the comment section down below. Please and thank you. And subscribe to the channel. Big subscribe. Hit the notification bell on the
5-0.
We almost at the big 500.
Help us out.
Help us out. Hit that notification bell. Share the video. That really helps us out, and we appreciate anyone who is viewing this video right now. I'm talking to you. We appreciate you.
We see y'all.
And go on this journey with us. We're on the road to 1,000. We're almost halfway there. So hop on and join us on this journey. And with that, I'm your host Dmitri.
I'm your host Marcus.
And this has been the Square Roundtable Podcast. We are out. Peace. Deuces.